Welcome to the LocoFoco Netcast. When I strike that match, we know we have begun. Now, you may be wondering, why a match and why LocoFoco? They're related. This is not an incendiary podcast, but we do want to cast some light on an interesting part of political theory and culture. And LocoFoco is a part of American history that most people know nothing about. I could have named this podcast after me, but I thought that tipping my hat to the LocoFocos of the 19th century was a good idea, since the LocoFocos were the first coherent libertarian movement in America. But why the goofy LocoFoco? Why the match? Well, in the 6th episode of this podcast, Dr. Anthony Cabegna, whom I call Dr. LocoFoco, explained.
Back in 1835, right after this males controversy, Leggett emerges as an abolitionist, and he and his radicals in New York City decide, you know what, there's no possibility of working within the Democratic Party to change the way that it works and make it a real anti-monopoly party. They proved that on the bank question, they proved that on the slavery question and censorship of the males. So here's what we're going to do. They plot in secret. They conspire, literally, a secret conspiracy to take over the upcoming nominating conventions at Tammany Hall, the stronghold of the local Democratic Party. They're going to take over these nominating conventions, storm them with their surprise numbers. And, you know, normally these are supposed to be very tame affairs where the party tells you who to vote for and you raise your hand and nominate them and it all goes through. Well, they were going to totally upend this process. They had some understanding that Tammany would play dirty tricks on them, and so they came prepared with these friction matches that had just been invented only recently in the past decade. And these are the matches that we're all familiar with today. They were called LocoFocos, is sort of an American bastardization of the Italian words for moving fire or fire in motion. They put their pockets full of matches, and they stormed this nominating convention, crammed Tammany Hall full of radical anti-monopolists, and the Tammany conservatives were so freaked out, they shut off the gas lights and abandoned the meeting. And there's this whole, Birdsall tells this wonderful, captivating story of the throng of people crowding in and the fight for the chair. And it's a physical battle to get the Tammany people out. They don't have the numbers. They abandon the hall, turn off the lights. And the LocoFocos, they weren't called that yet, but they go down to the basement. They break open boxes of candles. They light their matches. And there it is. That's the moment. Birdsall says, let there be light. And there is light. And it's just this amazing moment. You can imagine with candle after candle lights. And and they make their radical nominations of anti-monopoly people. They all, parade out through the streets of New York City. They give loud huzzas and plaudits, again, as Birdsall says, and they sort of melt away into the city, their work having been accomplished. And the next day, the press, both Whig and regular Jacksonian Democrat press, come out and trash them mercilessly and call them all sorts of names, from the Guy Fawkes of politics and agrarians and Fanny Rite men. And they say the LocoFoco party because they had to light their convention with candles. It was sort of a term of derision. But of course, our radicals took it as a badge of honor, and that's how the movement was born.
But those LocoFocos weren't called LocoFoco officially, as Anthony explains.
Officially, they were called the Equal Rights Party.
But this podcast is LocoFoco officially, the LocoFoco Netcast. You can find us at locofoco.net, locofoco.us, and locofoco.tv. We try to shed light on the issues of our time and all times through the lens of liberty. We're kind of individualists. We're libertarians. We have some ideas. We don't all agree, but we agree to try to make sense of the world as best we can. And that's what we do here on LocoFoco Netcast. Oh, and who am I? I'm Timothy Virkola. You can find me at Workman and Workman.com. That's Workman with an I, not an O. Thank you.